Dumela batho ba ba rategang ke solofela gore le siame ka leina ke malibflat and I'm back at it again. So yeah guys, we're doing this today. It's a very special day. I don't know what's happening today. I don't know what's special about it, but it's just a special day. So yeah, without further ado, so today I want to talk about how I started music. Why did I start it and where I am right now. Yeah, but I don't think I'm gonna talk about everything in this episode because it might be 10 hours. So I'm just gonna make it short. So I'm just gonna talk about how it started and when it started up until, just touching on the basics and stuff like that. I'll make full episodes on each and every instrument that I play and how I got to play it, because otherwise this video will be the longest video of all times. But yeah, without further ado, let me start. So I don't know if you guys know a pellet, a pellet, like you see at the grocery stores whenever they deliver things like big things like your maize meals, your sugar, like 10 kgs, 12 kgs. There's that wooden thing below it. Yeah, we call it a pellet. I don't know in other languages what's it called, but yeah, that thing, I'll put the pic here so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. So that pellet, yeah, we'll get to know why I'm talking about the pellet. So yeah, so my journey started in 2014. I was still playing basketball that time. Yeah, I was playing basketball at Pajani. Yeah, I was playing basketball. So my brother-in-law, my sister's husband, there was this one day, they had because they were the senior basketball guys. I was like in the junior team and stuff like that. So there was this day where he was going to Maibuye Art Center in the location. So when he went to Maibuye, like I used to go with him to go watch them play, because I'm like admiring how they're playing, looking for skills and because I'm still a junior in the basketball. I want to learn more and stuff like that. So I grew up listening to the cassette, like both Steve Kekana, those kind of music. So I heard a lot of instruments there, but I didn't know what's playing there. So there was this one time, I don't remember whose show was it, but it was on TV. I was watching TV that day and I saw people playing instruments. I was like, what's that? So I asked people at home. They told me no, it's musical instruments, but they didn't know like the differences and stuff. They just knew it's musical instruments. In my language, pala. So yeah. So one day when my brother-in-law went to basketball, I was like, bro, can you please go with me? Like, I want to go ask if there's music at that place, because I saw people having bags, like, violent cases and stuff. I didn't know what was in, but I saw that this is an unusual school bag. I'm used to the school bag I go to school with, So yeah, so I'm like, okay, great. Sure. Then I was like, okay, let's go. So we went there. It was on a Thursday and it was raining that day. I can remember it was 2014 around it was around September. Yeah, it was around September. So we went there. So he left me there. We asked the securities at my buye. He left me in the music segment or the music department and went to go play basketball. So I went there to go ask. And fortunately, that was a Thursday and they were having this session at my buye. They called it Hobakanya, like to fix.
Yay!
Hobakanya Orchestra, where all the students of Maibuye come together every Thursday to play as a collective, so that when there are shows, concerts and stuff like that, they can perform the songs that they always do on Thursdays. And it's also to help the juniors or the upcoming instrumentalists to be able to see Norman. So if I play good, I will be part of that orchestra, So it was a nice thing going on there. Sure. So they said the lady who was working there is Mem Lobatsi, I think. So she was working there. She was in the management or admin, I'm not sure, but she was the one handling all the registrations and stuff like that. She said, no, go sit there and watch what's happening inside. Then after that, we'll talk furthermore if you're still interested in stuff. Because I went there looking for an instrument called a violin, you know. Yeah, I went there looking for an instrument called a violin. Sure. So I went there, I sat there, they were playing, what's the song? Bananas in is it before bananas in pajamas? Bananas in pajamas are coming down the stairs. They were playing that song. They were playing people help the people. That people help the people. They were playing that song. They were playing Kana King. It was Old MacDonald's mixed with Herbie Hancock's song. Kana what's Herbie Hancock's song? Yo, I forgot that song, but it was fused with Old MacDonald's, like Old MacDonald's had a farm. Yeah, it was mixed with that song. It was rearranged by Matthew Hardigan, yeah, one of the violin teachers. So okay, I was sitting there, I was like, whoa, it's my first time seeing these instruments and I'm seeing them live. I'm like, yo, this is amazing. So after that, I was so, as a child, because I was 14 years of age, I was so excited, like, yo. I went to the lady and said, I want the registration forms, So she gave me the registration form. I went home and I was so excited. I told my family there, yo, I want to go join this thing. And what. And I got a friend, Tidiso Slade, yeah, my friend. I went to Tidiso's house, say, bro, you gotta come with me because, yo, you won't believe what's happening at my buya. So my brother was like, no, let's go. So we went there the Monday afternoon after school. He was attending Olympic by then. I was still attending Isao Primary School. So yeah, I waited for him because he was coming with transport and it was a little bit late. So I waited for my friend. Then we went to my buya. When we got there, yo, bro, and like we were like there, and he said, bro, I want to play saxophone, And I said, I want a violin. That's what I want. Because I heard someone, because when you keep on asking people, what's this instrument called? Because I saw it on TV, on a TV show. I don't know, it was an orchestra thing. I don't know if it was by Andre Rieu, but I know it was a live concert. So I asked people, then they said it's a violin. So when I went there, I just wanted violin and nothing else. Okay, I get there. So when I get there, I meet with Matthew Hardigan, one of the guys there, and and I told him, because they referred me to him, saying you should go speak to that guy because he's the strings teacher, violin, viola, cello, double bass. He's the one who's doing that. So I went to him and he said, no, it's unfortunate that when you are a new student or you are like fresh, you need to start playing the recorder, Yeah, so I had to start playing the recorder. It's fine. So I went there and I got introduced to Shu Jung Chen. Shu Jung Chen is a teacher. She's from China, but she was residing in Bloemfontein, so it was like a thingy, and she wasn't there also for a long time. After I joined the program, then she went back to Bloem. You check. So yeah, so I started my lessons. It was around September, I think the last week. Yes, the last week of, we have holidays, like it's four quarters. So it was the third quarter, but the last week, after the test, that last week before the schools closed for a week. So it was that week when I started my lessons, and the music school, like the timetable goes hand in hand with the school timetable. So they were like closing that Friday. So I started my lessons on Monday. Okay, I went there, I started playing recorder, some people call it the flute, and that's where I met my friend Kositsile Gelden Hayes. We called him Costa. Yeah, so I met my friend. He was playing the recorder. He was playing with, it was him, Kaya Shuping, and I know there were three, and Nalena, she was attending, Kimberly Jr., I think, and Joyson Leonard. Yeah, those were the four people who were like professionals. When I got there, I was like, yo, Ziakala, sure. Okay, so I watched them, I was studying, learning, but I was taking classes on the other building with Shu Jung Chen and Joyce and them, in like the and I say the intermediate people or the advanced recorder players, flute players, were with Miss Anita Duplessis. She's now Mrs. Malan. Yes, Mrs. Malan. So I was with her. They were with her. I was with Shu Jung Chen. So that week, Shu Jung Chen taught me, the recorder, the technique, how to hold the recorder and everything. Then she gave me a book, that book. It was a book 1 for recorder learners and stuff like that. So I only went there Monday and Thursday. Those were my lessons. And she said, okay, I'm gonna see you after the holidays. So because I saw what's happening there, holidays, I didn't rest, Baba. That recorder had a fingering chart, a blue fingering chart inside. I took the recorder. I was like, I'm not resting. I'm gonna learn this thing. So those holidays were nice because I was making noise every day, the whole day. I was playing the recorder. And within that week, I finished the book. Oh my God! Wow! Because I was literally playing the whole day. I just woke up very early, cleaned the house, ate, then started playing outside now, Didn't even have a stand by then. I only had a recorder and a file. So I was just there.
Are you stupid or something?
Playing the recorder, sharp. Then the schools opened. They were like, oh. Then I told my teacher, Miss Shu, I'm done with the book. Can you give me another one? They were like, yo, here we're gonna have a problem. So I was done with the book and she couldn't believe it. So I went to the last, these books, they build them gradually according to the levels. The more you go into the book, the more it gets advanced. So I played the last songs in the book and I was like, I can play any song that you pick in this book. Just pick it. Yeah, boy. And she chose the hardest songs and I just played it.
Stop it. Get some help.
Great. And she was like, okay, I'll have to send you to Mr. Malan. Because you have finished the book 1, so that means you can play in the orchestra, they said. It was only 2 weeks, guys. Yeah, 2 weeks. And I was done with the book. Okay. So I went to Mr. Malan. I was like, okay, Mr. Malan, I finished this book and now I want my violin. Because I came here for violin, not for these other things. I said, no, we'll have to, because you are good with woodwind, the orchestra doesn't have woodwind, so we'd like to put you in other places. Okay. I was like, okay, it's fine. But as long as I'm part of the orchestra, it's okay. Sure. Then they gave me an instrument called the silver flute. They gave me a silver flute. Yeah, silver flute is similar to the flute that I was playing, the do, but with it's advanced and it plays in orchestras. Usually in big orchestra like philharmonic orchestras, the recorder is not there. The flute is the one that's there because it has a beautiful sound and it's also, I don't know what, yeah, the flute. So they gave me a flute. I started taking flute lessons. When I started those flute lessons, I felt like, nah, this is done the same thing that I did with the recorder. I know this thing, man. Then I started skipping my classes. I started skipping my classes. I was like, nah, bro. So I only came to orchestra sessions. Then the year ended and 2015 started. Yeah, 2015 started when I was in grade 9 now. So I was still busy there, So my friend Tsidiso was playing the saxophone. Yeah, when I got upgraded to the flute, Tsidiso went to the saxophone, Khositsila went to the clarinet, So we were the woodwind friends. So Tsidiso didn't stay far from me. I will always go to his house, then we'll play those weird songs, just play, classical music for young people, We'll just play songs, because them sharp. So we played the songs and yeah, that's how I got into the silver flute and the recorder. And while we were playing, I was teaching my friend Sidiso how to play the flute and he was teaching me how to play the saxophone because he has the sax. So when we met with Khositsila would teach me how to play the clarinet, I'll teach him how to play the flute, Sidiso will teach him, we were exchanging the knowledge and exchanging the skills. So at the end of that year, I could play the recorder, the flute, the saxophone, and the clarinet. Okay, great. So then I went there to the violin teacher, and I asked, "Sir, but you guys are giving me a lot of instruments to play. I didn't come here for those things. I came for the violin. That's what I want." He looked at my fingers. His fingers. He looked at my fingers. Eh? After looking at my fingers, he told me, "You know what, boy?" Because back then he knew me as Tepang, you know. Say, "Boy, Tepang, looking at your fingers, you will never be able to play violin in your life." You will never be able to play violin in your life. Those were the words I got from the teacher, telling me straight into my face like this: "You will never be able to play a violin in your life." I was broken. I was like, "Hey, but okay, it's fine. I'll play the woodwinds. It's fine." So I started going to Eureka. Started taking those lessons. I was part of the orchestra there, you know. I also became part of the city orchestra at Eureka, you know, with the flute and stuff like that. And I was like, "No, man. What does this guy mean when he says I'll never be able to play a violin? No ways." So I was like, "Okay, I don't have a violin. It's fine." So I continued going there, playing in the orchestra, but I wasn't taking lessons anymore. You know, I was dodging lessons. I played the flute in the orchestra. Then I found a book lying there, a cello book, you know. Remember I told you guys about the pellet, né? The pellet. So I found a cello book there, book 1. Also one of those lesson books. I was like, "Okay, cello book. Fine." So I took the cello book, went home, went into the internet, looked for the fingering chart for cello and stuff. So you see a pellet, ne? You know it has those 1-1. What do you call these things? Those 1-1, is it wooden what-whats? Those 1-1 pieces. So I took one of the pieces out of the pellets that we had at home, and I actually wrote the notes of the cello on the pellet, because the size of it, you know. So I wrote the notes on the pellets, né? On the pellet, like that one layer of the pellet. I wrote the notes for the cellos, the strings, which string is what, you know. And I also had a nice stick like this, because I saw how someone played the cello. I was like, okay. So you guys wouldn't believe this though. You can even ask my mom if you don't believe me, because she saw it. She saw me every day practicing like I'm crazy. So I took that pellet, because I knew now how melodies and how notes are supposed to sound. So I took the cello book, and in my mind, I read the book, né? But in my mind, I'm singing the notes while playing. So I started, checking videos on YouTube. I remember that time I was using my mom's phone. She was using a Nokia Asha 201. So I used to go there on YouTube and, search how to play cello. Then they showed you supposed to hold the thing like this. Then you bow like that, So I was playing the cello notes according to that book, but with the wood, with the pellet. Not with an instrument. I could play cello before I could play cello.
Really, nigga?
Yeah. Yes. So, just there with that hood, I could play the notes. Then 2015, I met my friend Samuel at my buye. I think he was going to gym because he was a bodybuilder by then. So Khositile and I were playing outside. We were playing recorder because we were multitasking, playing recorder and Flute. He was playing recorder and clarinet. So we were playing recorder outside, because we were advanced, like we were playing crazy pieces, that childish what. So we were playing there, and it was crazy. We played. Then Samuel came through. He was on his bicycle and he saw us playing. So he approached us and said, "Yo, gents, yo, you guys are doing an amazing job. We do have these instruments at church though." Like, what? You know, I didn't believe him. So he said, "Okay, don't you have a pen there?" So he gave me the directions to the church. So he was like, "Okay guys, every Saturdays at 3 o'clock, number 5, we are having practice, orchestral practice for our church. You guys can come join us with those recorders." And we were like, "Okay, we'll come." So that Saturday, Khositsilo couldn't come. He had other commitments. So I went to Tidiso. Tidiso wasn't there that day, but I went to him and said, "Bro, I heard there's a church there. They play the things that we play. Let's go check it out." So we went that Saturday. We went with the bicycles. We were driving those small bicycles, mini bicycles. Tricky. We even got lost going to the place because, hey, that bicycle, the map that Samuel drew for us, it was, you know, that you go, you turn, without any reference, stop sign here, tuck shop there, just the turning what's. So got lost, but yeah, eventually we got to the place and we got there like, I think it was around 3:30 when it was already busy. And bro, we saw, that church, the New Apostolic Church, that time, 2015. I saw a sea of violence, viola, cello, then one double bass, trumpets. Like, it was crazy. I was like, "Moka Simona," in the location, it was my first time because I was like 15 by then. Okay, so yeah, it was that. And then we went there. We were sitting there and I had the bag while they were playing, and I got to see the cello. This is the thing that I've been doing, you know. So that's when I approached this guy, and how he's my friend, you know, Wilvan Abrams. I went to Wilvan. I was like, "Bro, how do you hold this thing, you know?" So he showed me how to hold the cello because he was playing cello by then. It was my first time having the actual cello, you know, because I was playing with my palette the whole time. So it was my first time playing, and I could play the Canon in D bass line out of my head from my palette. So I played it on the cello, like my first time touching a cello. I could play at least one song. They were like, "Yeah, you are lying, you are a cello player." I was like, "No guys, what. So by then I asked Samuel to show me how a violin is being hold, or is it hold or why hold? Hey, yeah. How do you hold a violin? Sure, Samuel showed me. I was excited. I was like, "So this is the violin that guy said I'll never be able to play." I know. Sharp. So the next week I went to my aunt and asked her nicely to buy me a violin. She must just buy me a violin. Okay. She bought the violin. We got it at Cash Crusaders. It was a Sanchez. It was 700 that time. Yeah, 700. She bought the violin. So now the thing is, I saw my friend Samuel tuning the violin. You know? I don't know. Let me get this violin. So what happens is that this is the violin, eh? So whenever you tune the violin, there are things that we call pegs here, and we have fine tuners here. So he was tuning, ne? But he was applying force, you know. I didn't understand why he's doing that, but I knew he's tuning. So I went home with the new violin. Okay, I was like, okay, no, these strings have a problem. I went to the second one. Oh, it was this side. Then I went and 2 strings broken. The G string,
Yeah, boy.
and the D string, they were broken. So I had 2 strings left, the A string and the E string. Fine. I was panicking because my aunt just bought this thing today. Doesn't even have 2 hours. I already broke 2 strings.
Yay!
Fine, I went to Samuel that Sunday. I went to church with that violin and said, bro, can you please tune this for me? Don't ask me what happened to the other strings because wow. So yeah, then we did, yeah, he tuned it for me. So the A string and the E string, and he gave me a book, one of the church books too, actually, because I could read music by then. So he gave me one of the church books to go learn how to play hymns, you know. At that time I didn't attend church, so it was my first time there and stuff. So they liked me because I was curious, and the love that I had for the instruments and the love that I had was just amazing, you know. I had the passion and everything, the drive. Like I was there, you know, when a child is hungry, like, hey, I was there, you know, so sure. So I started playing the violin, guys. I played with 2 strings only. That's why up until this day, I can play the violin like quite well, ne? But I'm more comfortable with A string and E string, because when I started the violin I could only play those 2 strings because I didn't have the other ones. So these other ones, up until this day, I think I have more than 6 years playing the violin. Is it 6 years? From 2015, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20. Hey, it's been long. But yeah, I'm more comfortable with the A string and the E string because like I was so used to them. So when I bought the D string and the G string, you must now remember that strings, they differ according to the quality. So the A string and the E string were the Sanchez ones that came up with the violin. So when I bought strings, I bought Palatino strings, which are slightly thicker and they have sound, you know, they vibrate more. So whenever I play the G string and the D string, they sounded so weird. I was like, am I doing the right thing, you know? So up until this day, I'm still comfortable with the A string and the E string. I don't know. I should get over that. I should get a way around it. But yeah, it's still my comfort zone because that's how I started. Okay, moving on. I started playing. Then I played in the church. So I got to love playing at the church, and I was like, okay, let me join this church because like every Sunday I'm here, you know, and I have nowhere else to go Sunday. So I started joining the New Apostolic Church. I was a musician already, you know. So started playing the violin, then I explored, and while I was playing the violin, I started learning piano. Started playing the piano. Like at my boy, they had a piano in the band room. They still have it till this day. So I went there like when there was no one. Usually on Saturdays I spoke to the securities back then, say, can I just come Saturday? I'm not here to do anything naughty, I'm just here to learn the piano. So they didn't have a problem because I already spoke to the music teacher there, you know, Mr. Malan, saying, can I just use the space on this particular day, this for a couple of hours? Then he said, no, it's fine, you know. So I started learning the piano by my own, using YouTube videos and papers that I used to go on YouTube and stuff like that. Started playing the piano. So in 2016 going to 2017, that's when because I was now part of the New Apostolic Church, and I saw how they play the pipe organ, the organ, you know, and I started getting interested. I'm like, you're playing all the voices in one instrument. That's dope. I'm going in there. So I started playing the organ now. Yeah, I played the organ. Then, which instrument am I missing? Yeah, I started playing the organ. Then, at my buye, we got a new teacher, you know, Mr. Ntlantla. That time I wasn't attending my buye. So they came that day. I was like, Nema, let me go check out what's happening there. So when I got there, there's a new teacher, you know, Ntlantla from Pretoria. Yo, that guy is amazing. He plays good, like good. So got there, and when I joined, you know, I wanted to enhance my playing skills on the violin. He said, no bro, you have long fingers, as you guys can see. So he said, you have long fingers, why don't you try the viola? I was like, what is a viola? It's like, it's similar to violin, but it has an extra string that the violin doesn't have, like a lower string, and it's slightly longer than the violin. It's like an alto tenor. I was like, okay, I like challenges. So he gave me the viola. I started playing viola and started reading in a different clef of viola clef. Started playing the viola while I'm learning the pipe organ. Yeah, that's that about the other instruments. Then 20, when was it? When I was in matric, 2018. Yes, because I was still playing all my instruments, and at church they saw my potential because I was literally like doing my best, and they said, no man, let us give you a sponsorship kind of a thingy, where you go learn the pipe organ. You know the pipe organ where you're playing with the pipes. The pipes are there, like it's crazy with the pedals on the floor. So I went there, took lessons in town, at the Methodist church. Took lessons at Methodist church, and that program was part of the Kimberley Music Academy. Yeah, is it Kimberley Academy of Music? Cam. Yeah. So I started taking pipe organ lessons there with Matthew Van Beek. Yo, it was playing. It was just crazy, man. So I started taking lessons there, and it was dope. So coming into 2021. Yes, when Corona started, 2020. Yes, 2020. Because I went to varsity 2019. So when I got there, I met a couple of friends, because I was already a musician, man. I was like, yeah. So I met a couple of friends. I met Carl Julius. I met Sylvester Molawa. I met Tolang Sibiri. I met Sipho Kumalo, Spelele Pungula. Like, I met a lot of guys who were playing instruments there. So my close friend, they started becoming like who's this guy? Yeah, Tolang and Carl. They were like my close friends. Those other guys I knew they play, but these ones I was spending more time with them. So Carl plays piano like a jazz, like he's good. Tolang plays the saxophone, he's good. So like, hey, these guys. That time I couldn't play the piano, like I could only read music on the piano. I couldn't play out of the head, like, couldn't play out of the head. Couldn't compose. Yeah. So I met the guys were playing out of the head. I was like, hey, how do you guys do these things? I'm used to reading. So I started spending more time with the guys, jamming with my violin, sometimes with the piano, looking at Carl, like he always liked to play in the morning, like when we were having breakfast at the cafeteria in Morocco. So he used to play the piano because there are 2 pianos in the cafeteria. I think now this year there are 3. Yeah, but back then there were only 2 pianos in the cafeteria. Yeah? No, there was 1 piano in the cafeteria. The other one was in the gaming room. The other one was locked in one of the offices. Yeah, it's only now that we had to fight to have all 3 in the cafeteria. But yeah, that was back when I was at school. So yeah, he was playing every morning. I would watch him play. Yo, it was just nice. It was amazing to see this guy play. Then he also plays the guitar. He plays piano, he plays the guitar. He's a music producer. That time I didn't know anything about producing. Okay, so it came 2020, where like in January, I was so interested. We started gigging. We had gigs like both the Office Pub, where we had Winnie S. Or we were playing for her, myself, Tolang and Carl. We play gig around Kasi, with Winnie. So I started getting that love for guitar. So a friend of mine, Welvin borrowed me a guitar. Yeah, he borrowed me a guitar. I couldn't play guitar by then, so I'm always hungry to learn. So I started learning how to play the guitar. I was playing the basic chords like the G major chords, like the E flat, E minor, your C, your D, your G, your C, your F sharp, diminished, just those kind of things. So I started learning the guitar, but that was an acoustic. These small ones, an acoustic, and what do they call it? Not just acoustic, classic acoustic guitar. Yeah, it's a classic acoustic guitar. Sure. So came March, on my birthday, the 12th. I think that time we got book allowance from NSFAS, the vibes. So NSFAS paid us like 8K. I think I had 8.9 in my account. So I went with my friend to town, and he was like, bro, you gotta buy yourself something for your birthday, man. Just buy yourself something that you'll be proud of forever. I was like, okay, so we went to the mall, North Cape Mall, just to have ice cream there. Myself and my friend Carl. We went with his car. So when we got there, he was like, bro, there's a guitar here. We are taking it and you are going to pay. Hey, this guy. I'm like, bro, this guitar is expensive. He's like, bro, you'll never regret buying this thing. This is a kind of what's this brand? Hey, kind of what's my guitar brand? Yeah, what's this guitar's brand? Let me just check the brand, because it seems like I'm getting old. Oh yes, it's a Fender. It's a Fender. Fender is one of the best guitar brands, Yeah, it's like, bro, this is a Fender guitar, you must take it. So I was like, okay, I took it. My heart was a little bit, when you have to buy expensive things unexpectedly. So my heart was, hey, okay, bought the Fender. And I bought the amp, Yako Keshkusi, that's a 700, the small amp, before I got the huge one that I have now. But yeah, so I started playing guitar, and while playing guitar, I started developing the love for singing. That was March. Started in 2020. I started developing love for singing, started doing covers on Facebook and YouTube. Yo, the quality was low, but I was doing it because I loved it. Then came 3 days before Corona. Carl taught me how to, to make a loop in FL Studio. He gave me the software and said, bro, you should do some loops so that, because I saw with him, he would produce something, then start playing with the guitar, then start soloing with the guitar or with the piano, because he produced something and played on top of it. He said, bro, you should try this, it's amazing. Sharp. So I was like, okay, it's not a flop. He gave me the FL Studio 12 and he taught me how to do a loop. Just a loop. Went home, started doing loops, and at that time I was only playing the flutes on the loops, just to get familiar with the software and stuff. Then 3 days after they announced Corona and stuff, I was staying in the flat with amazing people like, Palesan Nana, and yeah. It was Palisa, that was 2020, yeah. Palisa, her roommate was Khalalelo, my neighbors was Spelele, the guys were there, the love was there, and my neighbors, like, Spelele is a musician, he's a pianist, so every day he would play the side and I would come with my guitar from my room, going to his room to go play with him, So I started producing, I released an EP called not Moonstar, The Journey, that EP, I don't know what it is, but yeah, I released an EP. That time I could only make, I could play piano. So Spare would borrow me his piano, then I'll play, because Carl showed me how to play the piano, then the notes get into the software, that kind of thing. So I would play piano, play different melodies. I made 6 songs they didn't have drums, because I didn't know how to do drums. Carl didn't show me that. Okay, I only did melodies. Released an EP. The way I was so brave, I released an EP doing that. And then what happened next? Yes. Then after that, I played it to a couple of my friends. People loved it on YouTube. It got more than 100 views. Like for my first EP, I was like, hey, so this thing will work. Because that EP, bro, like if you're gonna listen to it now, like, bro, it was musical because it was just instruments, but I thought I'm making house, but the house didn't have drums, it didn't have percussion, it was only instruments. It was magical, but come on, Mali. I didn't even know what is mixing and mastering by then. I didn't know you can add effects. I only knew you because Carl showed me you put a plug in there, you play the melody, you just adjust your volumes. That's all. He didn't teach me like this effects and stuff, because that was my task. So I started learning more. Then the same year, 2020, I released an EP around August the 7th, 2020, I released an EP called Moonstar. Yeah, and that one was quite, I could do drums, I could sing, I had a mic already, and but then I didn't know to mix and master by then. No, I did know. So I did know how to mix and master, but I didn't know to mix and master the vocals because I taught myself how to mix and master the beat that I made in FL. Sure. So I started production. Then the following year, 2021, that's when I released my first official single, "Fool for You," featuring McD, King Speech, and Evelyn. And that song got more than 30,000 streams on Spotify. I was like, yo, it's happening. It's happening. So yeah, we went on. I produced, I collabed with Complicated Essay, collabed with Numbers, collabed with McD, King Speech. On the 9th of April 2021, I released an album called Rise of a Legend. I started growing in the field. Around May the 7th, I got verified on Facebook. Bro, 2021 was a movie for me because a lot of amazing things happened to me. I don't want to lie. Though we were recovering from COVID and stuff, a lot of great things happened to me. So yeah, that's how I came about my music journey. I tried summarizing it as I can, And yeah, it's still gonna grow, guys. It's still gonna grow. I'm here to grind. I'm here to do all those things, But yeah, that's just that about me, malibflat, the musician and everything. So yeah, I just want to say I hope you guys have enjoyed listening to this boring voice. And yeah, please don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Let's share the love. Let's share the video. If you like the video, if you like what I spoke about, don't forget to like and comment also, maybe to comment on what I said, to ask me more questions so that I can make another video commenting, or just do the most, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. This is your boy malibflat, and I'm out. Peace out.